Hi, my name's Bill. I love music and I love records, and I want to welcome you to another video that I'm doing for a YouTube channel called Spin and Chatter. And I want to say thanks to everyone who's been watching. I really appreciate it when people hit like and subscribe. I love when people leave comments. I love reading the comments and responding to them. And it's I'm having a lot of fun with this. So if you like what you're seeing, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. So today I want to talk about heavy metal horror soundtracks. Um, Heavy metal horror crossover is kind of a subgenre of horror films, and there were a handful of them in the 1980s. And I'm going to talk about three soundtracks that I have to heavy metal horror films today. And the thing that these movies have in common is they directly or indirectly kind of capitalize on the satanic panic of the 1980s. The common thread that runs through these movies are heavy metal music kind of awakening or like having some sort of connection to some type of demonic force in the movies. So, anyway, let's get to these records, okay? So, the first one is Trick or Treat. This is one that you might know about already. This came out in 1986 on Columbia Records. It's essentially the fourth album by a band called Fastway. And Fastway had a guitar player, Fast Eddie Clarke, who had broken away from Motorhead in 1982. And the Trick or Treat soundtrack was released a week after the film came out. The soundtrack came out on October 31st, Halloween, 1986. So that's a pretty cool release date for this type of thing. Trick or Treat, the movie, it's a fun, schlocky horror movie. It has Mark Price as the star, who you might know him from Family Ties. He played Skippy. And there's cameos by Gene Simmons, who plays a radio DJ. There's also I believe the screen debut by Ozzy Osbourne. He does a cameo as a televangelist. So that's pretty interesting. Tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. The plot of this movie is, if you collect records, you'll find this movie especially interesting because it's kind of vinyl collecting adjacent. The gist of it is the main character, Mark Price's character, gets an acetate of an unreleased heavy metal record from a DJ, and he takes it home, plays it backwards, and then chaos ensues. That's, in a nutshell, that's what happens. I never saw the film until its official Blu-ray release a couple years ago. And it was, a lot of people, had been wanting an official release. I know that there was a DVD release at one point, but as I understand it, it was kind of like a gray market thing and not the best quality. But this official Blu-ray release, when I got it, I absolutely loved it. I bought one of the collector's editions. And when I buy collector's editions of Blu-rays or DVDs, it's not often that I delve into every single special feature that's on them. But with this one, I absolutely did. I just couldn't get enough of it. I liked the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. Listening to Mark Price reminisce about the making of the film is just delightful. He seems like a really nice guy that kind of, enjoyed his work on a film like Trick or Treat, and just likes talking about it. He seems like he'd be kind of like a fun guy to hang out with. There's also one scene where Mark Price is wearing an Alternative Tentacles shirt, and that just really drove home how much I love the movie. If I were to give it 3 out of 5 stars, seeing that shirt in the movie would jack it up to 4 out of 5 stars. I just love Alternative Tentacles. The soundtrack, let's get back to the soundtrack here. So the music is good. The soundtrack needed a timely heavy metal sound, and this really delivers that. Listening to it now, the first songs are really my favorite cuts. There's a song called, the theme song, Trick or Treat. And there's another one called After Midnight. Those are probably my two favorites. The rest of it is not bad, but it's just not as memorable as those first two tracks. They raise the bar pretty high for the rest of it. So at one time, original copies of this were pretty sought after, and it thankfully got reissued on vinyl by Real Gone and by Music on Vinyl. So it's readily available. Worth checking out if this sounds like something you'd be into. Trick or Treat by Fastway. So the next one I want to talk about is Black Roses. Sorry, I'll get it in the camera here. This came out in 1988 on Metal Blade Enigma. It's part soundtrack and part compilation in a way. It has original music by a fictitious heavy metal band that was created for the movie called Black Roses. But there's also songs by established heavy metal bands at the time, like Bang Tango, Lizzie Borden, Hallows Eve. Black Roses is a fun Canadian horror movie that was directed by John Fasano. It's about in a nutshell, the plot is about a heavy metal band that wreaks havoc on a small town through their concerts. The movie has monsters. There's a great scene with Vincent. I hope I don't butcher his last name, but Vincent Pastore from The Sopranos. It was his screen debut. And in his scene, he gets attacked and killed by a possessed hi-fi stereo. And for some reason, I remember that the stereo that attacks him, the speakers are Cerwin Vegas. And I also remember that on the turntable, there's this shot of him reaching out to touch the record that's on the turntable, and it's a record by the Mentors. So I thought that was interesting. The best song on this soundtrack is hands down Me Against the World by Lizzie Borden. And that song, if you like this era of heavy metal, late 80s, and if you haven't heard that song, it's just killer. It's such a great song that they use it as in the very beginning of the movie. It's the first song that the band plays. To my knowledge, this has never received another official vinyl reissue, and I think the only way you can get it on vinyl is to buy a 1988 copy. So it's kind of cool. My copy has the hype sticker there, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, it's good record. Black Roses, original motion picture soundtrack for the heavy metal movie. Now, last but not least, is a movie that I really like a lot. So it's a soundtrack for a movie called Edge of Hell. And the soundtrack it says here it's done by a group called Tritons. Okay, so a couple things. The movie Edge of Hell was later retitled and is much better known as Rock and Roll Nightmare. And the Tritons is another fictitious heavy metal band. The band is actually Thor. And Thor, a couple things to know about him. He is a championship Canadian bodybuilder turned heavy metal rocker. And he's a very prolific performer. He's still doing his thing today. I think he has a new album coming out later this year, I believe. But anyway, back to the movie. This is another movie directed by John Fasano, who also did Black Roses, the one I just talked about. And this movie has kind of an uneven plot with some very strange twists. But it's essentially about a band that rents out a farmhouse that's equipped with a recording studio. And I think their intention in the movie is to rehearse, record demos. The movie has nudity, it has blood, shower scenes. It's got some great 1980s prosthetic special effects. And there's some cringy attempts at intentional humor. And this is probably in my top 5 favorite schlocky horror films of all time. And I say that with great affection. I just really like this movie. It's fun to show to people. Always a good time. Now, the soundtrack, it's got really good heavy metal guitar riffs that are kind of on brand for Thor. It reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff that he was doing when he recorded Only the Strong. That was an album he put out in 1985. This soundtrack came out in 1987 in the UK and in Spain, and it was on a label called GWR. And the way I got this is I did a trade with a guy who sold records on social media. I typically don't like to do trades because with people that I don't know very well, because there's an element of unpredictability. You don't know whether the person is able to grade records accurately. You don't know whether you're even going to get the record. So there's some risk involved, but I wanted this so bad that it's just kind of worth the risk. So I made the trade. I forgot what I traded to him, but I ended up with this and a couple other things. Little fun fact, I got to meet Thor when he played a show in Pittsburgh. This was, I think it was pre-pandemic. And it was just a blast. Everybody there was really into it. He just put on a great show. After it was over, he went outside and he was signing autographs. So he signed some things for me, took a picture with me, and the moment I was waiting for, I got to tell him how much I liked Rock and Roll Nightmare. And he seemed a little bit kind of flummoxed by that. Like, he wasn't, it was like that's not what he was expecting me to say. And he took a beat and he said, "Oh, I'm glad you like the movie. This is the kind of thing that I learned by talking to people and things like that." Very down-to-earth guy, a lot of fun to meet. Just great guy. What can I say? One of these days, I would like to do a deep dive on Thor, but that would be the subject of another video. I could probably do another video just totally based on Thor. One thing I did want to mention is that Cleopatra Records did reissue this. So it is available if you want the soundtrack to Edge of Hell / Rock and Roll Nightmare, performed by the Tritons / Thor. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to drop a comment. Tell me about your favorite heavy metal horror movies. And hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope to see you again. Thanks a lot.